Okay, so as promised in our package opening video, we're going to talk about Battlestar Galactica Blood and Chrome today. After reviewing it and the special features, we're going to go through that. Firstly, we're going to have a look at all the other items of the Battlestar Galactica universe, just briefly to give an overview of what we have here. So we should start right at the beginning with the original Battlestar Galactica. This, it's a classic show, and the effects, were top-notch for their day, and they still hold up for the most part. A lot of people are hoping for a Blu-ray release, cleaned up Blu-ray release. I wouldn't hold your breath on that one, but to get those original film elements cleaned up would be quite something. They are releasing later this year, though, the theatrical version of the pilot on Blu-ray. The movie did play theatrically outside of America. I actually saw it at the movies when I was very, very little. And it's like a edited down version of the three-episode opener. Costs were astronomical, and due to that it eventually did not get renewed for another series of exactly the same type, at least. Just came in a there is a special edition of this in a Cylon head, but I just picked up this. I thought this was fine. It's just a 3-case regular DVD case set there. There's the back, and the quality is fair enough, is fine enough, and has some good special features, deleted scenes from a bunch of the episodes. Documentary The Creation of Battlestar Galactica, Inside Battlestar Galactica, Working with the Daggett, that's the robot dogs from the show, photo gallery, and a documentary called A Sneak Peek at Battlestar Galactica, the miniseries, which is for the new Battlestar Galactica. But never fear, just a year or so later they decided maybe they'd made a mistake cancelling Battlestar Galactica, and decided to renew the series on a smaller budget, figuring taking place many years later when they finally discover Earth. A lot of people try and pretend this is not an official continuation of the original series, like it is pretty much just a season 2, but it is. It has the same characters, it takes place in the same continuum, and it is actually, I actually really enjoyed this show. It does have some terrible episodes, with the final episode being one of the finest episodes of the entire series, called The Return of Starbuck. And just a nice little set there. Reused a lot of the special effects from the original show, and a lot of it was Earth-based. It had some crazy sort of time travel stuff, which was kind of later rehashed for Quantum Leap, funny enough. So yeah, Galactica 1980. Then from 1980, it was a long time until the early 2000s until we saw a reimagining of the series. After many sort of failed attempts to bring back the original series in a continuation, we went for an all-new revamping, and this is really... I had my doubts when I first saw this. I saw a few random episodes and wasn't pleased with some of the directions they went into, but when I fully watched from the beginning, this show is vastly superior, and it's actually one of the greatest shows of all time. I had this on DVD and then upgraded to the Blu-ray. We have all 4 seasons and the movie called The Plan, which is kind of a prequel, alternate view of events during the series, which is, it's okay, has its moments, but yeah, great show, shot on these digital cameras with film-like grain added in. It's pretty harsh looking even on Blu-ray. Really emphasizes those facts, but that's the way it's supposed to look, and just really a superb show, packed with special features, the whole nine, and highly recommended. Not long after that, they decided to do a prequel set many years before the Cylon War, even, showing how the creation of the Cylons. And this show was very, very ballsy, very inventive. Great show. Some people dismiss it without really looking into it. The show is very, very clever, and unfortunately got cancelled sort of even during the first season or after the first season. It's like an 18 episode series. I've done a whole video on this, so I'll put the link in the bottom. But this is a great show, and it really one of the most inventive shows ever made, I'd say. And this is the French Blu-ray, because it's only come out on DVD anywhere else, and so the writing on the back is in French, etc. But as I say, there's a video. I'll put all about this in depth. It's actually the first video I ever did, and that'll be in the description below, the link for that. Okay, that brings us up to date with Battlestar Galactica Blood and Chrome. After the sort of heady, less action-based show like Caprica, although Caprica did have its fair share of action, they decided to try going back to a more action-based, space-based show to try and satisfy the certain group of fans who were really had a hunger for that sort of thing. So this takes place, I'm not sure how many years after Caprica, maybe about 10 years, but probably about 40 years before Battlestar Galactica, with a young William Adama, who is the old captain on the Battlestar Galactica series. This is him as a young pilot, a young rookie pilot just starting out. This pilot didn't get picked up. There's some fair reasons for that, but I think it could have developed into something else, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So, you have the setting. It's during the original Cylon War, and young William Adama is straight out of the academy, top of his class, and sort of a cocky, brash pilot, and wants to go in and go to war with the Cylons, and gets on a special mission, and you go from there. Now the acting in this has been criticised in a lot of reviews. The actor Luke Pasqualino is a heavily criticised actor for his performance in the UK show Skins. He was many fans' least favourite actor on that. He was very stiff, very wooden, and from the reviews I'd read of this, it sounded like he was going to be more of the same. I actually didn't mind him at all. I thought he was fine. He was written to be sort of a cocky, slightly unlikable character at first, but he lacks a little warmth, but I thought he got the job done, and he's fine. There was plenty of room for to improve if the series had been picked up. The other acting was all fine. You saw there was 3 characters who had played other characters in the Battlestar Galactica universe that'll pop up, which is kind of funny to see them. These actors you recognise from different time periods, playing different characters on this in smaller roles, but I guess the creators know these people and know that they can get the job done. Now the visual effects, they went a different route with Battlestar Galactica Blood and Chrome. After the original series, when I say the original series, the early 2000s Battlestar Galactica reimagining closed down, they took down all the sets and the practical stuff, and they auctioned it all off. So they decided to go a slightly cheaper route and do everything in CG, which sounds just awful listening to it. And every scene in the whole thing is green screened with CG backgrounds. It's quite a task. For at least 50% of it, it works really, really well, maybe even more than that. For anything with static backgrounds, it's really hard to tell. And they do a really good job. And the Cylons, actually, they did a pretty good job with them. They look a little bit better than the CG Cylons in the previous series. But I believe that this, because it didn't get picked up, the effects didn't get finished, because there is a lot of scenes, especially ship battle scenes that take place in daylight on the planet, just look terrible, look like a bad computer game. But most of the fighting scenes in space look really, really good. So it's a mixed bag, but they had a huge task in front of them, and I think they did a lot with what they could. Now this is a weird choice of a story to go for the pilot. I don't know where they were going to go with this as an ongoing story. It's basically, he gets to the Galactica, which is the name of the show, Battlestar Galactica Blood and Chrome. He gets sent on a mission away from the Galactica fairly early on, and you never see the Galactica again. They don't build any too many characters, just a couple around him. Most of the other characters are superfluous, and you can tell they're not going to be brought back, or they're physically not going to be able to be brought back. So it's a strange choice of a story for pilots. So sort of like almost like a one-off adventure. There is some things that they can move forward on, but comparing it to, say, the mini-series opener of the Battlestar Galactica Reimagined, which had so many layers and depth and so many things set up, it just seemed like a weird choice of having hardly any of the Battlestar Galactica in it, and having this sort of one-off mission where not a lot of depth or other supporting characters set up, mostly just William Adama and his co-pilot. So yeah, interesting choice, but I mean, it would have been interesting to see where it went, but it looks very, very unlikely. As far as the overall feel of the film, it feels much lighter in every aspect, and it just feels like a little one-off. It certainly feels like it's set in the same universe, but it doesn't have all these religion / political / terrorism. It doesn't seem to have as much breadth and depth as the original had right from the onset. Whether they were going to work on that later, I don't know, but it still was an okay enough story. Certainly not as good as Caprica or the Battlestar Galactica Reimagined, but definitely worth picking up. We'll have a look at the disc here. It comes with a slipcover, and the special features. You have some deleted scenes, and you have blood and chrome visual effects. Now the deleted scenes, I watched a couple of them. Some of them are not finished, but it would have been nice to see them all, just seeing the things this was never going to become a full series. I've just added them back in and got a little more bang for the buck and a bit of a longer pilot. As it is, it's a little over an hour and a half long. It has been advertised on Amazon and a bunch of other places as being 180 minutes. That's what I was expecting when I got it. I was expecting a 3-hour thing along the lines of the the length of the mini-series that opened up the Battlestar Galactica series, but no, it's just over an hour and a half, and may as well have, maybe there was a financial issue, they couldn't get them back in there, but it is what it is. They're at least there for you to check out. Now, Blood and Chrome Visual Effects is a great little doco about everything they had to go through to do these green screen effects, and with a lot of side-by-side comparisons. It's really worth checking out. I found it like one of the more interesting featurettes to come with any of these series. So there you have the same pictures on the inside. Just a straight, really regular disc there. You've got your ultraviolet copy. Oh, there's an ad for the theatrical version of the original 1978 Battlestar Galactica coming out on Blu-ray. The original movie that launched a phenomenon. So, and you've got a DVD version, which is most likely never going to get any use. In summation, after reading a lot of negative reviews, I quite enjoyed it. I thought it was okay. I wouldn't have minded seeing it go into series and seeing if they could have worked on it. Further development of some of the things they just barely hinted at, like they had some hints back to Caprica, to Greystone Industries, and some hints forward to some of the big players on the Cylon group for the future. So they had some room to really make this quite interesting, and I think if Ronald Moore had been involved in this rather than just David Icke by himself, there might have been a little more depth and might have come together slightly better. We could be looking at something different, but he seems to have parted ways with the franchise, and David Icke still did a good enough job, but I think the pairing of them is where the magic really happens. So not the disaster of Caprica getting cancelled, but still it would be nice to see more, because I love this universe. Okay, that's it. So goodbye from me, and goodbye from Bye-bye. See you later.